Good old morning. Wow, we're at lunch already. And for Lee, he'll share a little bit about where he is, but welcome instead of good morning or good afternoon or good evening to wherever you are. Welcome everyone for joining us this Friday as we are ending the work week and welcoming the weekend. This is Coffee with Denise. And if you don't know, I just launched these last week and I will start doing these regularly on Fridays. I'll share a little bit more about next week's because it'll have the lovely Chela Diaz with me then. But I do want to just, again, welcome everyone and have us all introduce ourselves. We've got a great time we're going to have a great time this week together, sharing a little bit about what each of them do and primarily about the big event that Lee has coming up in March. So we're super excited to share that. I am Denise Murtha Bachman. I am founder of Success with AI and the Celebators program. I live in Houston, Texas. So for me, it is lunchtime right now, but I am drinking my coffee. And I welcome again, Chela. So if you could do your introduction and then we'll go over to Lee.
Oh my goodness. Well, good. Welcome everybody. And if you're watching the replay, please let us know watching the replay so we can acknowledge you and get back to you. Chela, coming to you today from Los Angeles. And I am delighted to be here. I am on a mission to help women entrepreneurs charge their value. When they make more money, they will have a bigger impact out into the world. And I am so delighted to be here with Denise and Lee. And I know that if you're able to get your pen out, get your paper, because this is going to be a kind of event where you want to take notes because you're going to want to take action on some of the magic things that Lee is going to share with us today. Thank you.
Great. All right. So Lee, if you wouldn't mind, thank you very much for doing your intro. If you wouldn't mind, Lee, coming on and doing yours next. And as everyone can tell, I'm actually playing with StreamYard now, trying to learn how to do all of this. So I'm going to bring Lee front and center. There we go, Lee.
How do you follow that? The lady that helps entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, charge their value, which is brilliant. She's phenomenal as well. I'm Lee Tony Ware. I'm coming to you from Ireland. In Westport County, Mayo. So about probably 3,500 miles from where Chela and Denise are. And sometimes you can be uncomfortable when people say, introduce yourself. So me, I'm proud of being a father of 11. I'm proud of my relationship of almost 32 years. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, but my skill set is helping, supporting and enabling people to find their authentic self and bring, I suppose, what some might call the USP to the market. I call the USP not your unique selling proposition, but your unique superpower. How can you play full out and be authentic? And something Chela said to me earlier about bulletproof coffee. She said, you know about bulletproof coffee, Lee? I said, no, but I know about bulletproof confidence. And that's what I enable people to find the direction, the vision, the mission they're on, and make it bulletproof. So I think that introduces me, Chela and Denise.
It does. So thank you for that. And I think this is a great way to end our week because we've had such a phenomenal week between Chela and myself, and then all the other hosts that had you on their lives all week long. So Chela, maybe you can introduce kind of the concept on what we all worked on this week. And then Lee, you can share a little bit of your experience all week. And then we'll dive in a bit deeper into what this event might look like coming up in March. So Chela, maybe share with us how the week went.
Oh my goodness, it was 7th. So Lee, I don't know if you were keeping track, but this is your 7th live with the group, right? It was such, for me, it was such a pleasure to organize it, put it together, but also to watch how each one of us, we're part of the same program, we did the same course together, but how each one of us walked away with just what we needed for us, right? I think of us, and I've been enjoying, and as I say this, my body's having all kinds of goosebumps here. So just for some of you out there, that's when my body talks to me. So that's when I know that I'm on the right track. And it's been a pleasure to watch how other people have shared their experiences. Like I said, so this is your seventh one, and we've had all these folks that learned and they're taking their life to the next level, but yet we're so different. And I think that why I am so proud of this is because it allows other people to see themselves in one of us, right? Somebody may resonate with me, somebody may resonate with Denise, and it doesn't matter. And that's why I am so proud that we were able to do this and that people are able to go and watch the replays, because we are all very different, but yet Lee was able to help each and every one of us get what we need to help us get to the next level. And that is why I am so proud that this came together so easily, and because it gets to highlight your gifts, Lee. It really does. And it also allows people to say, well, what if somebody doesn't resonate with me? Okay, it's not about me. It's about, okay, what about Denise? What about Michelle? What about, right? Each one of us got just what we needed.
Well, and Chella, thank you for that. It has been a phenomenal week. And maybe to provide context for those, first off, I just posted a comment out there. If you are watching us, tell us where you're from so that we have an opportunity to say hi to you. But, you know, for context for those that are out there listening, one of the things that I think is important to provide to everyone is that we that hosted those, or all of us, have participated in this program with Lee that we're going to invite him to share a little bit about here in a minute. But it was, you know, we've got this great workshop that he's about to this super workshop that he's about to host in March. And the premise is this subconscious code breaker group that Chella and I, amongst the other hosts this week, had an opportunity to participate with. And quite frankly, all of us have been around with him now since the inception of this program here on LinkedIn, right? So we, you know, I think 22 in the fall of 22 was the first challenge. We both have had our own stories, as have all the other hosts, as to why we joined and what we've learned, you know, between then and now, which is for each of us been, I know I've witnessed it, has been tremendous, but it's been a huge, I mean, this huge, invigorating experience that has really helped us to elevate ourselves, not just personally, but as well professionally. So Chella, thank you for putting all of this together for this week. Lee, I'd like for you to share now your experience. Chella shared with us the value that we all got as hosts. I shared a little bit of context of, you know, where us as the hosts even came from, right? And the program that we're in with you. Maybe you, Lee, could share a little bit about, you know, how this week went for you, some of the different experiences that you had, and really what your program's about, why this has been so valuable to you, as we start to then move into a little bit more about what your program actually is in March that you're launching.
Well, I suppose the biggest part, which you can see on the screen, is how we all work so closely together, and like how many this week. Chella said it. This is the 7th live, but every one of those people have done it and stepped into it. Well, some never used StreamYard before, stepped into a real world experience, a bit like Denise said there. Some have learned in real time. That's what I mean by bulletproof confidence. It may be goosebumpy or butterfly. So it's good to see, I suppose, our team sort of, or some of our team sort of coming out and doing it. And we've got more saying they're going to do the same thing, because we set the example for each other, and it's about pulling together and about not, I suppose, not being alone, and about being on that entrepreneurial, professional, business journey, whatever. But it's an inside out job. So we've all pulled together, and through some of the exercises that I've developed have enabled each of us to sort of pull together as a team, elevate each other, and make it real. And obviously you can see the results on the screen. I suppose that's what I'm saying about the 7 lives this week. It's not just me. Most anyone that knows me knows I could just speak forever. But to see other people stepping out of, or stepping up, you might say, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, as in they were down, but stepping into their power, stepping into the USP, owning their their authenticity and knowing where and who they help. It's a massive thing to see this week, and knowing that some utilize StreamYard and streaming live for the first time, massive step, and learning it in real time and having and dealing with those micro moments and still getting the end result. So that was a fantastic personal win for me to see people that I've worked with and able to, where they've enabled themselves to do that. So now I'm not sure if I've spoken too much or whether I should go on to the program, Denise. So I'll be led by you.
Oh, you're doing a great job. So thank you for just sharing your experience. And you're right. We've all had to kind of live in these micro moments as we have been putting these lives together. And I love the word micro moment because that's been something that I have been working on quite a bit. I mean, most everyone here knows my story. Chella has her own, but the amount that I have learned, how I've elevated and progressed over the course of the last year and a half with your help, Lee, has been amazing. And I've now gotten to a point where I'm actually aware of when I'm walking into a micro moment or when I'm there in that moment and it becomes an actual micro moment that I'm having to figure out how to manage. If asked me a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have been aware enough to manage and sift through that and even recognize that I was in a micro moment, let alone try to harmoniously manage through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, which I think is a great segue, Lee, into what your program really is, because I know I myself have learned so much. Chella has, as well as have all the hosts and even those that are in the program that may not have hosted. And it's really been a blessing for us to really step into our authentic selves. And it's really been because of you and your program. So maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your program. I also have a slide that I can bring up. So you tell me when you're ready for me to do that.
Very good. And so many different ways that I could explain it and I could educate you. So I'm just going to put it this way. And I think this encompasses it. I have dyslexia. Yeah. So I look at the world differently. And a lot of people wrote me off when I was younger because I had dyslexia, couldn't learn the same way as everybody else. So I was way behind the curve, really, and possibly considered stupid. And I was the little boy that had to stand in the class with the wizard's hat with the D on it. And I've actually done that as a kid, stood in the corner, faced the corner. And you think, well, why is that relevant? And I'll tell you why it's relevant is that when to deal with those emotions inside, or those what some might call traumatic moments, or the micro moments that shape us, so we have the experience, the stimulus in real time. And then we sort of embody that this is who I am. So there was a part of me that knew that wasn't who I was. Yeah. But then I had a sort of fight with a bit. And bear in mind, this was at a young age that sort of said, well, no, that's who you are, because you're having all these experiences, all these people saying things to you. Excuse me. So this must be who you are, because is mum a liar? Is dad a liar? Is the teacher a liar? Is this a liar? Is that a liar? And bear in mind, my mum wasn't being disrespectful to me or anything like that. But there'd be that thing in her voice that spoke to me like there was something wrong with me, like I had a sore leg. Are you okay? And even though she was saying it with love, there was a piece where she was trying to protect me, but that protection was actually creating micro moments for me that actually facilitated the part that told me I wasn't good enough. Now, I had a massive aha moment when I was in a shop about 60 miles from where I am now. And I was waiting to buy a car stereo for my first car. I was only about 17, yeah. And I had to drive to this shop to get it. And it was 65 pounds, punts, not euros. I didn't have euros in those days. And I had about 70. Yeah. So when I went to the shop to get the stereo, they said, it's not in yet. So I said, fair enough. And I used to, in my car, I had like a stereo that I used to, one we walk about one and put the tape in and leave it on the front seat, or get whoever was in the passenger seat to hold the stereo. That was my music on wheels. But I went to a shop across from the shop that I was buying a stereo in, because they said it'd be in an hour or so. So I thought I walked around. And I went to the shop and I was looking at this stand. It was a bit like a sunglass stand or a postcard stand with all these tapes on it. and I couldn't see any pictures on it because that's how I navigated the world because I didn't read too well. And it was a stand with personal development tapes. And I asked the girl behind the counter, what are these? And she said, the personal development tapes. I said, what are they? So, and then I couldn't read what was on the thing properly. I can read a lot better now, but in them days I couldn't. So she came out, she was telling me about them. So I didn't buy the stereo. I bought, and they were $7.99 each. So I bought as many tapes as I could get for £70. And then I just devoured them because I wanted to be successful. But then I hit this wall. You got to write your goals down. And I couldn't read or write properly. So then, even when I spent all my money on these tapes, and I listened to them, I devoured them, and then I was told I couldn't write my goals down. You've got to write your goals down to be successful, and I couldn't. Yeah, so then I found this new way of being successful, and new way of learning. But then I hit this wall again that I couldn't be successful, and then I had a very magic moment where I realised you didn't have to write your goals down to be successful on the outside. You had to write them down on the inside. And really, from this 7 lives this week, I had that insight that really where this co-breakers and the subconscious synergy workshop and like where it all came together, because it started in that moment when I realised I couldn't write my goals down. Because I thought I can't be the only one that can't write my goals down. And I'd visualise and it wouldn't be clear, or I'd say these affirmations and it wouldn't work because I'd be saying to myself, I'm brilliant, and be another part of me saying, no, you're not. And then you'd be showing you all the memories of your past. So what Denise has got to share with you is what took me years from the story I've just told you, is how we process. Now, bear in mind, these are labels. These are just anchors to communicate something. It's very unique to all of us because we make the world and the reality we're in, and we create the stimulus for others and they create the stimulus for us. So it's always changing. So to find 5 elements that enable you to navigate the internal world and also to communicate effectively to the external world, I'm sure you can imagine this took me a long time, especially for somebody who doesn't read or write very well. Nowadays, I read quite well. So Jenna, if we go to the next page, yeah, we talk about 5 modalities. Yeah, so it's left brain, which I'm sure you're aware of. That's our logical mind. Right brain, that's where our creative is, or music, dance, whatever. And then we got emotions, yeah, in our heart. And then we got a physical or physiology. Some might reference it as the gut, a bit like Chella said earlier. Goosebumps, the body tells her. So what one do we process with? And then we got a spirit, like our chi energy. Some might say that's in your core. So how does this come together? If we go to the next slide, you'll see, yeah, left brain is logic, yeah, and data and language, and like when we're in our heads and we're confused, or we're thinking through things, or we've got that negative self chatter, that's all in your left brain. Yeah, so which one are you in most of the time? Which one's getting in the way? Which one's the saboteur? Which one's the supporter? Because sometimes you might feel you got it great, and then this piece of you comes in and attacks you like the enemy within. So in the subconscious synergy workshop, it's in the first session we're going to go through what do you do? Not is this an education? What do you do? Do you think? Do you imagine? Yeah, do you feel? If so, which feeling? Is it emotion? Is it biological? Is it spiritual? Which feeling? I don't mean spiritual like a Dalai Lama or God. I mean your chi energy, that excitement, that passion. So in left brain, if you're in doubt's in left brain. If you're like thinking through things, that's in left brain. If you're trying to put systems and processes together, that's in left brain. But doubt, and it's timeline in it, see. So it's not just what part are we in, as in our left brain, right brain, emotions, our gut, or our spirit. What timeline are you in it? So is it you're in your left brain with your past memories, your past auditory data having a go at you, that internal voice, Or are you in the future, which is where doubt belongs, where you're looking into the future, but you're thinking into the future and you're thinking through, and some might call that worry. Is what part of you or me or anybody is actually getting in the way? What's creating the pitfalls? What's creating the ruts? What happens when you're incited 1 minute and then 5 minutes later or something, unbeknownst to you, all your energy seems to change and you go into this imposter or saboteur and start talking bad about yourself. So we move to the next one, which is right brain. Is that's the creative side, your imagination, your intuition, your visualization. So when somebody tells you to do affirmations, that's for left brain. When they tell you to do visualization, that's for right brain. But what they didn't tell you, bear in mind, I've listened, and I used to pay people to read me books when I was 17. I swear to you, I used to pay people to read me books until I found these tapes. And I used to read them. I had a little dictaphone I used to read them on, and the sound weren't the best. You'd have one ear and you'd be listening, and I'd stick it in my pocket and work and listen to this. Because I heard about subconscious learning. When I used to go to sleep, I used to play tapes. I done everything to be successful. But I realised that affirmations are for left brain. Now, if I ain't got a problem in left brain, why would I do affirmations? Visualizations for right brain. But if I can see it clearly, but the auditory is getting in the way, I can visualize all I want. It won't do me no good because I'm already good in that area. But the area I'm good at isn't the area I need to develop. Bear in mind, it's personal development, which means it's inside your skin. It's not a skill outside. This is an inside skill. But if we don't know, like we can go and take an exam tomorrow. You're good at maths, yeah? I've got 98%. Yeah, you're strong in maths. Part of what we're going to do on the subconscious energy workshop is where are you strong and where do you need to develop? Because it's the undeveloped part of you that is actually creating the pitfalls or the internal talk or the fog. And bear in mind, you can flip because it's a bit like a pizza. In some areas, right, let's say maths, for example, you might, I'm very good at maths. So when we go into maths, we're very confident. If we had to get up in class and write out the maths problem and teach the class, we might be unconfident, but we're confident in maths. So what part of us is now getting in the way? It's our physiology, because now our physical being is worried about being seen when we're going up to teach a subject we know very well. So that's why I commend the code breakers that were on this week, because they've stepped up. They've gone out and they're being seen, because it's all right being bulletproof on the inside if you can't bring it to the outside world. So if you're utilizing affirmations, and there's nothing wrong with them, but you've got to know which timeline you're in your head. Are you in the past? And if you've got an echo of the past dictating to you in the present and taking, like, in a sense, confusing you, and you're in the micro moment trying to do an affirmation, that's like having two voices or like two records playing at the same time. It's like two cars going down the road. If one's going at 60 mile an hour and one's going at 10 mile an hour, when they collide, the 60 mile an hour one's going to go through the other one. So if you've got a habit of putting yourself down with your auditory, it doesn't matter how loud you scream that affirmation, that's like a 10 mile an hour car meeting a 60 mile an hour car. And then you've got to know which timeline you're in, because the past is dictating the present and the future, and you're in the present trying to offset habits of the past. So we ain't going to turn it down. We're going to utilize the habit. We're going to utilize what your left brain already does or your right brain already does, and utilize it in a way that benefits you, because it's there to serve you. Even though it's there attacking you, putting you down, that voice is actually trying to keep you safe. Those negative images are trying to keep you safe. They're not attacking you. It's attacking us because our conscious self is going, well, I want to do this. And the unconscious self, no, you're not. So if we go to the next one, shall I? Now I could talk about this for hours, but it's took me a lifetime. Emotion. Some people make their decisions from their heart. Nothing wrong with that. But decisions are actually made in left brain. So we might be heart open in the emotion of it all, and that's fine for us who are making our own personal decisions. What's personal to me? What makes me happy? Absolutely brilliant. Don't make a business decision with your heart, because a business decision is in agreements, logical. But if you're open and they're closed and they're in systems and processes and you're in emotion, you can end up being taken advantage of. So it's brilliant having a good heart space and being able to open it when you want it. And that comes back to what Denise said earlier about micro moments. Can you open your heart when it's needed? When the stimulus, see, the best time to open your heart is when the stimulus says you shouldn't. When you can manage that moment, the micro moments, and stay in the emotion that's pure for you and communicate that where it makes it pure for somebody else, you start to actually hack reality, change reality. You start to make them feel better. You don't go into the defense or denial or fight, flight, freeze. You're able to be in your own true, authentic self and realize that their left brain or their right brain or their emotions or their spirit or their biology is getting in the way of you. So happiness, sadness, joy, and all that goes in emotions. And if you listen to people very carefully, they talk about empathetic listening or active listening. What part of the human is talking to you? Is it their left brain? Well, let me explain it to you. That's left brain. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? That's right brain. Let me describe it to you. That's right brain. How does that feel to you? Now, people think, a lot of people say that's kinesthetic or emotion, yeah, from if you're looking at NLP. Which feeling? Emotional, spiritual, or physical? So how does that feel to you? Well, which one is that, Lee? Is it emotion, physiology, as in biology, or spirit? You'll know by the way they say it sometimes. Yeah? Let me describe it to you. Do you think now, which one's he in? I'm actually in my spirit and then going to my logic. So when somebody's excited, like if you see Beyonce on stage, you got all the lights, all the music, all the dancers, all the outfits. It's there for a multi-sensory stage. Yeah, when they're there, you got everything. You take all the lights and all the dancers away and all the outfits away, and you put Beyonce on the stage on her own. She can still sing, but when you put all together, that's when the audience lights up. They can feel it. They can sing along with the music. They can tap their foot. Bear in mind, sing along with the music, left brain. They can see it, right brain. Their emotions are involved in it, yeah? And their spirit literally getting excited. They're jumping up and down, and their biology is dancing and tapping. All five modalities work at the same time. So when you can literally manage micro moments, but what happens is if your past, your trauma, your drama, your armor is getting in the way, if you can open your heart, that's fine, which means emotionally you've dealt with it. But your left brain might be attacking you. Your right brain may be putting fog and cloud in this way. If we move to biology now, so fear, when you're in fear, that's from your physiology, your biology, your gut. And it's future-based. Fear is future-based. Beliefs, future-based. Trust is future-based. Yeah? So when we're in this, so let's say, if you noticed on the last one, I didn't have the word love. You think love would belong under heart. It doesn't. Love is a unity of all five. It's a unity of all five. So a lot of people say love's in the emotion. No, it's not. It's part of five elements of love. So if I love somebody, it means I respect them. I think well of them. I see them in a good light. I also have emotions for them. Obviously, all of these are at a high level. Also, I'm excited to be around them. I'm also physically attracted to them. I'm on about somebody in a relationship with love. If it's your son or your daughter or your niece or somebody like that, you'll have respect for them. You'll have a future for them, and you'll be trying to guide them through it. So we can love people in so many different ways, but love doesn't come from just emotion. It comes from all five. And the reason I said that is fear comes only from biology. Doesn't come from psychology, doesn't come from imagination. Imagination can trigger anxiety, which some perceive as fear. Fear is physical and it's in real time. What I mean by that is if somebody's coming at you with a knife, a gun, and your biology is under threat, fight, flight, freeze is only for when your biology is under threat. Why is that relevant? It's very relevant and very profound. And I don't mean that to make me sound good, because if you take that just from this life, if you're looking at the future and you've got the sense of fear, then what's happening is you are imagining a future and that's triggering your fight, flight, freeze, and there's no outside stimulus. which means you're actually doing it to yourself, or somebody is doing it to you, but playing with your future. So if you don't do this, I'll do that. They try to trigger. They don't do it consciously, but anyone that tries to take your future away or put your future down is actually triggering the fight, flight, freeze. There are variations, so I'm being very not on the surface, but I'm trying to categorize it like a pizza. Your motivation, your motor, your drive, your action, your do, all comes from biology. So, excuse me, procrastination, some might see that you can't get into action. No, it's a conflict between left brain and biology. The left brain knows what they've got to do. I mean, you can't call yourself a procrastinator if you don't know you haven't done the stuff you're supposed to do, which means you already knew what you had to be done. You knew what had to be done, when it had to be done, who you had to do it with, but you couldn't do it. Why? Because of the reptilian brain. And it's not that it's thinking anything, because the reptilian brain doesn't think anything. Is that there's a frequency running in your biology, a habitual like frequency, a bit like white noise, yeah, in your biology. Now, when you reset that, what happens is you're able to be present. Because if you're in fear, doubt, insecurity, yeah, you're in the future, which means you're not present. If you're being managed by memory moments, whether they're auditory, visual, or emotional, or physical, as in post-traumatic stress disorder, bear in mind the word stress belongs in biology. How do you feel? That I feel a bit stressed, I feel under pressure. That means it's your physiology. So post-traumatic stress disorder triggers a response. Yeah, when they hear like say a gun firing, a soldier coming back from the war, their physiology will react to the sound. We can actually do the same inside from a memory. No stimulus outside, and we can be triggering post-traumatic stress inside, and we're running that white noise frequency, and I don't feel myself. I feel under pressure. I feel stuck. I feel like I'm going in circles. I feel like I'm lost. All physical terms. Obstacles, physical term. Somebody on a code breaker said to me about a wall. It's a big wall. I said, show it to me. And they go, I said, well, I can show you my wall. When it's real, somebody can show it to you. But when it's a feeling, and hear that the right way, you might think that's a bit disrespectful. No, it's not. When people become aware that it isn't actually a wall, it just feels like a wall. A bit like ducks, a bit like chicken. It ain't nothing like chicken, but people say it is. And the last one, yeah, is when we move down. And bear in mind the anger one, sorry. So how do you know? Is if you see somebody wheel spinning, slamming doors, throwing cups, whatever, that's their physiology doing that. It's not their emotional state. It's not the psychological state. It's not their right brain. Now, what's triggered it inside, one of the others, I don't know, as in which one of the five modalities has triggered the physical reaction. If you imagine there's a tank and it's filling and it overflows, when it overflows, you get all the nasty stuff, whether that's people attacking your character with words. That's their left brain attacking. A fight is physical, a debate is mind against mind, a belief against belief, a thought against thought. When we move into spirit, passion, purpose, pride, exhaustion. See, exhaustion that's your spirit energy gone. A lot of people think exhaustion's in like physical. Tired is in physical. How do you know that your system needs resetting? You might be sleeping right. You might be digesting right. You might have dietary issues. You might have hair and nail issues. That's the consequence of this white noise frequency inside. When you get into your chi or your spirit done correctly. So some people use meditation to basically manifest and create and to manage micro moments without being in the moment. You got to hear that one. Some people use meditation to take them out of the moment. So they have no stimulus, which means they're off of the outside world, the real world. They're meditating, quieting their mind, which means they haven't got the auditory noise. They're relaxing their body with their breath, which means they haven't got the white noise frequency, and they're calming the biology down, calming the mind down. They're focusing on something, and that basically puts you in a reset moment for a moment. And a lot of people, in my opinion, are utilizing meditation as a form of medication. It's a bit like using a hammer to paint a fence. Oh, you might be able to achieve it, but I'll tell you, it'll take a long time. And that's what's wrong sometimes with some of the stuff that's out there. It's all correct. but which timeline you're in, which modality you're in, which one's triggering the other four, and in who's triggering what. So if Chella and I were at, let's say we had something, Chella might trigger my left brain, but Denise might trigger my emotions. So we flip like changing radios or TV stations in a microsecond. And that's what's so confusing for us in our awareness and our competence is like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we don't know whether it's the past triggering it, the present triggering it. Why did you have that reaction? I don't know. She barely said anything, but I felt like she said everything. So the point I'm trying to make to you is when we know who you are, not the consequences of all these triggers or dramas and traumas and armors of life, when we know who you are, which is very easy to do when we reset these. And that can be a bit uncomfortable because it's a bit like some people, bear in mind some, not all, believe happiness is the absence of sadness. And it ain't. It just means you ain't got no unhappiness. But then you're at zero. That means you're free from all the drama and you can breathe again. But that don't mean you got happiness, but it feels like happiness because you ain't got all that unhappiness. So when we go into managing micro moments, or memory moments, which memories are we going to use? Rather than having all that chatter in our head, I mean, why wouldn't you have the subconscious affirm you automatically? Why would you need to teach yourself? I mean, how do you teach yourself? I can teach Denise, I can teach Chella, I can teach loads of people, but I can't teach me. What we're going to do like today, Lee, is sit down. We're going to do lesson 1. Okay, Lee, where do you want me to start? I mean, who's talking to who? So the point I'm making, you can't teach yourself. It's just language. You can't believe in yourself. That might be one you disagree with. I can believe in Chella, I can believe in Denise, I believe in the construction of the future they give me. When we say, they're BSing, it means I don't believe in the future they're giving me. Because something in their micro moments or in their memory moments that I've embodied tells me, I don't think they're capable of that. How do we judge what people are capable of or not? From the micro moments. And managing micro moments enables you to have a much better life in yourself, to have closer relationships and contact with your kids, your husband, your partner, your wife, whomever. As long as we can put this noise to the past. And the last bit is, we can do the visualizing. Imagine your imagination putting on the TV screen of your mind the stuff you need rather than you having to visualize. So when I take you back to that cassette stand, when I realised and I went, I can sing these tapes left, right, centre. Dennis Wakely, if any of you ever get a chance, Empires of the Mind. He was a hero. You don't know how he changed my life. One of the things that literally I wrote, I mean, if I could have carved it in, if I could have branded it on me, I would have. It don't work on the reverse of an idea. You can't be in two minds. You can't have your left brain saying one thing and your imagination saying the other. So when I heard that bit and I realised I couldn't write my goals down, and he told a story about someday I will do this, someday I will do that, someday I will do the other. He talked about it like it was a street, like a suburb. Someday you might do it. But what I suggest you do is make that day today. And what I mean by that is Shelley's going to put a link up. Make tomorrow different. Don't allow all your yesterdays to take away all your tomorrows. Don't allow all the trauma and drama and armor, whether you're a business professional, whether you're on that personal development journey. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're committed to making your future better. I would say I'm a guardian of people's futures. Why? Because I know how hard it is to get to a place where you can stand in your own autonomy and utilize the 5 modalities. So just to sum up for you, session 1, discover the 5 modalities of your true self. Bear in mind, you've got to hear that. Discover the 5 modalities of your true self. Yeah, because when you get to your true self, that's what puts the auditory affirmations on your mind. That's what puts the visualization on your internal screen. So you're not out here trying to meditate in there to get what you want. Yeah, you can put your own movie trailer up on your own screen. Whose mind is it? If it ain't yours, then whose is it? So once we get your true self, it's very easy to get the 5 modalities working for you. Is it like a magic silver bullet? No. But if you commit to it and you commit to the journey, it can be. It's just we're firing it on the 14th, and it'll keep moving and it'll keep changing for you. So then we navigate the second session. We navigate your emotional self. That's the emotional landscape. Very important, because that's the one we all hide most times. That's the mask up. We don't show our emotions. Then we're going to move on to overcoming the shackles of your past failures or the past disrespect, whatever that means to you. And we navigate those memories so they're not screaming emotionally at you, physically at you, so you haven't got that white noise, yeah, and you don't feel that lack of pride, where we start to clean the inside, yeah. And then we look at your future. We demanifest the future that's pending that you don't want, and we replace it with the future you do want. And then where Denise led us into managing micro moments, and that's where we go through it. Roughly each session will be 45 to 50 minutes with a 10-minute break. It's fast and furious. Nobody can teach you to be you. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but I will give you the tools that will enable you to have bulletproof confidence. And these two people on the screen and the people I've been doing lives with, they know it. They've lived it, and they're in their own self. We're always improving every day, yeah. But I'm Lee Tunney, where I do care about your future. I'm a guardian of people's futures, and I will say do anything authentically to make you, take you, to see you, to feel you, so you know you're enough to be at the finish line of the life you want. And that's me, Denise.
Thank you for sharing that, Lee. I mean, Chella and I could not have done you or this super workshop any justice. So we appreciate you sharing that with us. I think the takeaway for me is not only in the year and a half that we've been working together and as a group, my takeaway is not only is it about helping you understand your own, where you are within your modalities, how you can manage, or actually you start to then learn not to even have to manage those micro moments, how you can just stand in those micro moments as your authentic self and live the best version of your life altogether. But you also have the opportunity to then learn the modalities that others are in when you're engaging with them, which therein lies the brilliance, right? So now you have learned how to be your authentic self, live in the moment, but you're also learning how others are engaging with you so that you can either choose to understand and meet them where they are, or you stand in your power and allow them to continue where they are, and you just stand true to who you are as an individual. So, I mean, there's so much here to be learned. Chella, I know I just kind of took over. Anything you would add as we end this?
No, I think that was perfect. And if you are watching this, take this as a sign. Lee just gave you a mini workshop. What if you begin before we meet on the 14th, March 14th, before we meet that, what if you watch this recording and take note of the 5? Now, it's not homework, right? We don't believe in homework. But what if you treat this as a mini workshop that you paid $55 for? What Lee just gave you is the beginning. This is the foundation. And when you show up to the event on the 14th, you will be that far ahead of the group, right? The knowledge and the wisdom, you're going to be able to take your learnings to the next level. So I'm excited. I know Denise and we're going to be there, and we're going to go out and we're going to share this with the people that we know are ready to take their life to the next steps, right? And so I'm delighted to be here. I am so glad we did this. And honestly, we did not plan it, but everything came together so nicely. And I'm going to go back and watch this as a replay, because I've been doing this for 14 months, 15 months, whatever it is. But every time this helps me. And Denise just gave us gold as well. Is yes, I can see where my modalities are, but what if I begin to see where the person that I'm communicating, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your children, whether it's your neighbor, right? That's going to help both of you, right? Because understanding where they're coming from, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to close this, then it's not personal, right? If they're in whatever modality they happen to be in, that's their journey, that's where they are, but it has nothing to do with me.
Oh, very good, Charlie. That's a 5-star on that one. That is absolutely, and that's what it is, because it's not personal. It's where they are, the energy they're in, their past, their traumas, and we're just using what's happening in real time as a way to either medicate ourselves or to attack someone else. So that might be a bit below the surface, but I know you two people know what I mean. Anyway, hopefully you like what you've seen. Yeah, I don't know who's got the link. I haven't got the link.
I don't have the link, so I'll have to put it up. So stay tuned to that. Quick little summary of what we've talked about. Lee, please share with us in a second the date. But we have been here with Lee, Chella, and I have talking about, for those, because we just had a few more that have joined out in the audience with us. For those that are just now joining, we have been talking with Lee about his super workshop that is coming up in March. He'll provide that date in just 1 second. We touched on the 5 modalities, which is really just one part of that 5-hour workshop. It looks to be super exciting, as Chella and I have been in his program since November or October of 2022. It is all about not only learning about yourself and how to live your best life, but how to engage with others and how to be your best version in every aspect of your life, not just personally, but with your family and in your business and so many other areas. So Lee, share with us again the name of the workshop and when it exactly is, if you don't mind.
That's right. It's the Subconscious Synergy Workshop, crafting your future self through subconscious mastery. It's on March the 14th, and it's at 10 a.m. This is American time. So 10 a.m. It's 5 hours, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, EDT, yes. Whatever. I don't know.
Eastern Standard Time, yes.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
In the European side, yeah, it's Greenwich Mean Time, we would call it this way, or some call it Lisbon time. It's 2 p.m. and it's 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's 5 hours in both time zones, but one starting at 10 a.m. in the morning. Pacific time, I believe, because I was informed by one of our code breakers, that's 6 a.m. Now,
8 a.m.
Yeah, 7 a.m., which is
yeah, sorry, because I was thinking Eastern. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m.
And there will be people on from different time zones. And we got people in Canada that's been on before. There was one thing Chella said there that sort of mind nudged me. When I started out doing this, as in when we all started getting together, the advantage now that, in a sense, that anyone that comes to the workshop has, and hopefully, better than not, the workshop will give you some really good tools, but there will be another product that we'll be talking about at the end of that workshop, which will be the 90-day accelerator. And then the 90-day accelerator, some of the code breakers will be there, and in a sense, they got a world. They're in 2 worlds because they're in their own world now. They've still got the memories of where they were, so they can be like your guides. They can interact, and not only that, then it's not when you got the questions, and it might be Denise or whoever or Chella going, well, yeah, I can relate to that because I used to be there, and now it's actually better. And I mean, Denise is here today, Chella's here. We've had the others on during the week and now, and I think the obvious thing should be they wouldn't be here doing it with me if it wasn't good, if they hadn't got something from it. So the advantage to you is you're coming into something we've already tested, we've gone through, and it's being improved all the time because there's so many different variations of life. So it's on March the 14th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 hours, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Yeah, what I would say Lisbon time or Greenwich Mean Time, UK Irish time. And Pacific time, it's 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I think I've done that correctly. If not, excuse me, I've got dyslexia. That could be me excusing myself. And I'm going to hand you back to the wonderful Denise or the wonderful Chella.
Yeah, so thank you, Lee, for that. If you want more information or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any three of us. If you look down below, I put the LinkedIn handle. So it's linkedin.com/in/ and then whichever one of us you'd like to connect with. So visit us there. I will make sure that I tag us in the summary of this. Also, I have a link that I will make sure I get out to each of you that would like it. So make sure you just stop by and comment. I'll post it to this. I'll also create a new post with that information. Again, you can reach out to any three of us, though. Go visit our profile pages. It's on Lee's featured section, in his featured section on his profile, that link, should you want to go there as well. For those of us that will be there, which are us two, and then anyone out in the audience with Lee, we look forward to seeing you there on March the 14th. We've learned a lot, and we want to be able to share all that we've learned with you and have Lee and his infinite wisdom guide us so that we can be living our best versions of ourselves. So I thank everyone for being here today. Coffee with Denise. We all had our individual coffees with us. So this is now a new series that I've launched. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys on Fridays at lunchtime for Central Time. Look for the invite for that. Next week, I'll actually have Chella with me. So it'll be Chella and I one-on-one and live coming to you guys. So I want to again thank everyone. I wish you guys a wonderful weekend. Lee and Chella, I look forward to seeing you guys next week in our regular Code Breaker session. And for those of us who want to join us on the Code Breaker Super Workshop, plan it on your calendars on the 14th, and we'll get you more information. In the meantime, reach out to us if you have any questions or want to speak to us live. So thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Chen.
All right, I'm going to end the stream. And as everyone knows, I'm kind of learning my way through StreamYard. So here we go. End. Bye, everyone. Quick bye. All right, there we go.